excited to have you guys with us today and tuning in. I think that we're in week 4. Is that right, Patricia?
That sounds about right.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you guys for tuning in. We have a very good topic up for you guys today, and we're going to share a little bit more about that. But before we do, I want to ask you all, as I do every week, please share this video. And also, if you have questions, feel free to place them in the comments. And I'm going to turn it over to Patricia.
All right. Well, as Janelle said, it is always good to be here. And we are roughly week 4 going into week 5-ish with this work. And it's definitely been a pleasure to be able to reach out to our 45,000 students as well as our families that are out in the community. So remember,
Yeah.
our goal is to be here just to provide support and strategies. So we definitely want you to reach out and ask any questions. And if there are any can share with you numbers of that nature to provide any help.
That's right.
Yeah. So with that being said, we do have a very exciting topic, which I think is exciting because sometimes the word empathy, which is what we're going to talk about today, can be a little bit confusing. Sometimes it's confused with sympathy. So I just want to make sure we kind of break that down and just kind of unpack what is empathy, and then how does that relate to developing students' social emotional learning. So as we know, the social emotional learning piece, it has 2 parts. You develop who you are on the inside, so you're aware of your feelings, and then how some of your behaviors affects others. And then you're also aware of others. So meaning how you socialize and you relate to others, and you're able to connect. So with that, discussing empathy, do you want to take a stab at it, Janelle? What is empathy? What is empathy?
I kind of, now I'm not the counselor, so in
You've been doing
layman's
a great
terms,
job.
yeah. In layman's term, for me, it's just like being able to maybe put myself in someone else's shoes, being able to imagine what they're feeling like in a situation and being relatable in that way.
Yep, you got it. That's perfect. That's
Good.
perfect. Sometimes when we're sharing or talking about empathy, and I'm thinking about our students now, sometimes they can confuse that with sympathy. So
Mhm.
sympathy is just simply feeling sorry for someone, but you can't really understand how that person feels. You just feel bad for them.
Yeah.
And with empathy, you can actually connect to that person's feelings, bigger experience.
Yes.
So let's see if we could share an example of having empathy for someone. I'm
Okay.
sure there are lots of examples, especially over
Yeah.
the last few weeks. We've had
Yeah.
so much change, and I think we've all just kind of gone through this process of being away from friends and families. So can you think of maybe a good example of a time you've had to show empathy or a time you've shown empathy to someone?
Well, I mean, I'll say the seniors this year. I really feel for them. Like I remember my senior year. I remember how fun that was, and having, not condoning this, but senior skip day and don't skip, guys. But I just remember all of that, and those last few months of senior year were just so much fun, and you kind of got to just have one last hurrah with everybody together. So I really feel for the seniors right now that are kind of missing out on that, and they're gonna have to experience that in a different way. So I'm empathetic towards them in that way.
Yeah, that's a really good one. That's a really, really good one. It made me think of, so I have a nephew that he is out of high school now, but he's very much a social butterfly.
Okay.
And at times I can really connect with that because we have a lot of our kids and family members that are kind of confined to the home. So, we
Yeah.
parks that are open, restaurants are not open. So I can relate to some individuals that may feel a little down because they can't do some of the things that they normally do. So
Yeah.
I'm
Tough.
very much an outdoors type of person. So when I think about, I can't go to the park or hear live music like I would love to, that just kind of makes me feel like when are we going to be free again?
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough.
Yep.
And I know there's a lot of people feeling that way. I mean, I can see it just from being in the house with a 7-year-old, you know. And so today on a rainy day, it's like, oh man, we really don't have anything. We can't even go in the yard really, you know, because it's misty out. But yeah, that's tough.
Yes, and I know that's really hard for her. She's very much a sociable person. She's a
Yes.
social, yes.
For sure. For sure.
Well, today we have several videos that will address empathy and practicing empathy, and just strategies that students and families can do to try to connect with the way others feel. We have Whitney Clarke has a book that she's going to read for us, so it's a read along, and it's entitled "How Full Is Your Bucket?" We also have Mr. William Cardell, and he is going to talk to us about empathy on social media or digital platforms, which is a very, very, very great topic to address, because a lot of our kids, as well as adults, now most of our communication is through social media. So we want to make sure that we're being respectful in the way that we communicate with others.
Yeah. So that's a good segue, I guess, into our first video. So we have Whitney Clarke. She's a school counselor at East Brainerd Elementary, and she is going to be reading How Full Is Your Cup? It's by Tom Rafe. We may be familiar with him from Strength Finders, and there's also, I mean, what is it? How Full Is Your Bucket? Did I say that
Yes.
right? There is an adult version of this book as well, but she's going to read the one, of course, for children. So if you have some little ones around you, get them, gather them around, because she's going to give us a reading.
Hello, my friends. I hope you are having a wonderful day. So today we are going to talk about our feelings, and not just our feelings, but other people's feelings. We are going to read a book called How Full Is Your Bucket? Let's see what a bucket has to do with our feelings. Felix was putting one of the last blocks on his tower when his little sister came in. I want to build with you, she said. Felix scowled. Go away, you're too little. I'm big. Stay back, you'll knock it over. Be very careful. Go away, you're just a baby. Thwack. Ooh, so be thinking, how do you think Felix feels? How is his sister feeling? Grandpa! Grandpa shook his head. Felix, you just dipped from your sister's bucket. Like everyone else, Anna has an invisible bucket. When it's empty, she feels bad. When it's full, she feels great. Didn't you ever notice your own bucket? Invisible bucket? Sometimes Felix couldn't quite tell if his grandfather was joking. But the next morning when Felix woke up, there was a small gray bucket floating above his head. When Felix came down for breakfast, his mom was in a hurry. I've got a meeting this morning and it's almost time to go. Anna, sit still. Felix slipped and Choco-Wink scattered across the floor. Felix, yelled his mom, you should have used the stool to reach it. Felix could feel his bucket tip, and a big invisible drop spilled out. Drip, drip. Ha ha! Anna laughed as she crunched the cereal with her shoe. Drip. Get through, miss the bus, scolded Mom. With the school bus honking, Felix quickly swept up the Choco Wheats and grabbed the last blueberry muffin. But before he could even take one bite, Buster jumped and grabbed the muffin from his hand. Drip. Hey, look at Felix's new backpack. My baby brother has just one just like it. Drip. Psst, Felix. Drip. Watch out, shrimp. Drip. It was still morning, and Felix's bucket felt empty. Now look at Felix's face. How do you think he is feeling? As he watched his classmates walk into the room, he secretly hoped they would trip and fall. That's what it feels like when you have an empty bucket. Felix slumped into his seat and waited for something else bad to happen. Mrs. Bumbleneck walked slowly up to his desk and handed him a paper. He could hardly bear to look. Felix, you wrote a wonderful story. Would you please share it with the class? Felix grinned and felt a big drop land in his bucket. Drop. The class grew quiet. They laughed at all the right parts and oohed at the scary parts when Felix finally read the end. Who sat next to him and doesn't usually like dinosaurs? Felix felt a whole shower of drops land in his bucket. Maybe the day wouldn't be so bad afterwards. Drop, drop, plop, plink, plop. At lunch, he got a note from his mom. Drop. Team captains today are Veronica and Felix. Drop. Nice cow. It's a dog. Well, those are really nice colors, Felix. Drop. Cool laser ant backpack, Felix. Drop. By afternoon, Felix's bucket, it was nearly full. At recess, when he looked around, he realized that his grandpa was right. Everyone has a bucket too. Let me help you. Drop, drop. Here's your baseball catch. Thanks, dude. Drop, drop. Hi, I'm Felix. First day? Yeah, I'm Amir. Drop, drop. The strange thing was that every drop he helped put in someone else's bucket, he felt another drop go in his bucket. When Felix burst into the door after school, he shouted, "You were right, Grandpa. I do have a bucket, and I understand how it works." Then he saw Anna's torn doll. "Bad dog," he almost scolded. And then he thought, dogs might have invisible buckets too. "Your doll will be okay, Anna," said Felix. "Mom will fix her." Until then, do you want to help me build the tallest building in the world with my blocks? And so they did. Now, as we finish, I want us to look at Felix's bucket and Anna's bucket. And I want to challenge you to think about other people's buckets. So you have a bucket. You have a bucket right above your head. And when people are so nice and so awesome, guess what? Plop, drop, plink, you get a full bucket. But if people are unkind, or if people say not nice things, guess what? Drip. It drips out of your bucket. So now think, do you want to dip from people's bucket? Or do you want to fill people's buckets? Because when you use kind words, you fill people's buckets. When you use unkind words, you dip from people's buckets. So my challenge at home is for you to go and try to fill other people's buckets with kind words, with helping out at home, and thinking about ways you can be kind to the people around you no matter where you are. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Goodbye.
Wow.
Yes, very, very good. And I'll tell you, no matter how old I get, it's always nice to be read to. So
Oh, yeah.
you did a great job delivering that story and just
Yes.
talking about ways to fill a bucket, and then making sure we truly understand what a bucket is.
Yeah.
So from the youngest to the oldest, everyone has a bucket because everyone has feelings.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that has me thinking about, okay, what am I going to go do so I can feel some other people's? When
Yes,
you put it in those terms, it's fun to think about, okay, what could I do to
yes.
make someone else's day a little bit more pleasant? I love it.
Yes. Another thing I noticed in the story is that once others started to fill his bucket, he learned how to fill others. So it was
Mm,
almost like once that was modeled for him, he paid
yeah.
attention. He said, "Oh, well, I can start saying nice things," and he started to
Yeah.
make friends and other things of that nature. So,
Paying
it's
it forward.
always a joy. And I want to say they have different versions of that book. So they have one for high schoolers, one for elementary school, and as you mentioned, I do think they have one for adults. So
Yes, they do. Yes.
great story. All
Yes.
right. So our next story to talk a little bit about empathy and making sure that we treat others the way we want to be treated, and kind of putting ourselves in their shoes. We have Mr. William Cardell that has a quick message for us around how to communicate with others on social media. And we know sometimes, I know Janelle, I'm sure you have access to different platforms,
Yeah.
and there are things we have to do to make sure we're careful there. And then
Yes.
sometimes, when I worked in schools, we will have students that will say things that were not so kind. So going back to sometimes dip into someone's bucket,
Yeah.
um, and not really put themselves in someone else's shoes, which will cause
Yeah.
feelings. Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll listen to Mr. Cardell, and then we'll talk about maybe some of the tips that he shares regarding showing empathy through social media.
Awesome.
Hello, Hamilton County students. Welcome to another STARS 411. In our last segment, we focused on empathy in action, more specifically, using empathy in our everyday interactions while on our school campuses. This video, part 2 of Empathy in Action, will be centered on being empathetic while using technology. This means the use of Chromebooks, laptops, cell phones, etc. We know that during this period of social distancing, we're relying on the internet even more to meet our educational needs. In addition, our social interaction is mainly limited to cell phones, the internet, and social media. Because of this increased reliance on these devices, miscommunication online can be a common occurrence. Being behind a screen makes it easier to say things we may not say in person. When this happens, it can lead to conflict, including hurt feelings and misunderstandings. We call this digital drama. Digital drama can be described as when people use devices, apps, or websites to start or further a conflict between themselves and others. Now we know that gossip and drama is common in everyday life, but this behavior can be amplified in the online world. Digital drama can result in cyberbullying, just as cyberbullying can result in digital drama. However, digital drama and cyberbullying are different. Cyberbullying involves repeated harassment of someone using technology. Digital drama is interesting or even intense conflict that occurs in the everyday world amongst people online. So here are some ways that you can prevent and avoid the pitfalls of digital drama. First, never post hurtful things online. Second, be careful what you joke about. Third, don't forward chain emails or rumors. Fourth, proofread your messages and think about what you say before you post. Next, don't post gossip online. Next, never tease, insult, threaten, or harass anyone online. And finally, please keep negative thoughts to yourself. Digital drama can end simply by thinking about what you say before you post it. Remember, what is on the internet will always be there and can have some severe consequences for what is said, especially if these comments are hurtful, embarrassing, cruel, threatening, or targets another individual. So students, to sum it up, this is a time of increased internet use. So let's all remember, be kind when you're online. Being kind online is how we show empathy in action using technology. Until next time, students, please stay safe, stay healthy, stay smart. Take care.
Very good tips.
Very good, very good. I think, like, when you're on it, they're just profiles. You maybe forget their other people too. So such good reminders that we're all human and words hurt even when they're typed.
Yes, yes. And the advice he shared about, thinking before you send something. So, I think about people that we may be really close to and we often joke around with. We have to be careful with, sharing a joke before the world, basically,
Yes.
that may be offensive to your friend or a family member of that nature. So,
Yeah. True. Yeah.
that very, very good tips. And I'm hoping, that's something that we possibly need to play over and over and over again.
Okay.
Especially the
Yeah.
piece about the digital drama. I just love the word that he used for that because often those things could cause major conflict. So
Yeah, and I think that people kind of, the things that happen on social media and in the digital world, they do spill over into real life and have major negative impacts. So yeah, it'd be great if we just thought about what we were getting ready to say in the first place to
mhm,
eliminate some of that.
yep. And so I was told that a lot of our teenagers don't use Facebook anymore.
That's
That
just true. Yeah.
So they use what? So what are the young people using? TikTok?
They're on Snapchat. They're a little bit more than on Instagram, but yeah, like Facebook, people are sending us the old people app. I'm like, what? But yeah, no, not a lot of kids on Facebook, but I do see some. I have like former students that I have on Facebook, and so yeah, it's used, but not as often as the other platforms.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
sounds like we possibly need to make some TikToks of whole child
Right.
wisdom.
Let's do a TikTok, Patricia.
I love it. I think we should. That should be our grand finale.
It should be.
I think it can be. We're going to include the entire team, so get ready, guys.
That's right. No backing out.
All right, so we're kind of flowing today. So we have lots of great videos that's just kind of full of great information. So we
Yeah.
definitely don't want to take away from the information that they're sharing. Our goal is just to make sure that we're helping you to process that so you'll have strategies that you can use. So please don't forget if you have questions or comments to send them our way so we can answer those for you. Um,
Absolutely.
but until then, we're kind of down to our very last two, correct?
That's right.
All
Got
right.
some
So
more.
The next one that we have relates to empathy as well, the circle of respect. So when it comes to the circle of respect, it talks about how we're treating anyone or all within our circle, even looking at the community and our environment. So what are we doing to make sure that we are respecting others and things? And once again, just kind of putting ourselves in someone else's shoes. So let's say, for example, if you go to someone's neighborhood, you don't want to throw trash in their neighborhood because you wouldn't want anyone to trash your own neighborhood.
That's right.
Showing empathy in a broader aspect. So not just with your family and friends, but others that are on the outside and connected to the circle as far as your community. So we'll listen to Miss Frida Parks. She's a social worker, and she's going to talk to us about the circle of respect.
All right.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Parks, and I'm a social worker with Hamilton County Schools. I would like to share with you for a few minutes a little information on circle of respect. I'm sure you know what respect is, but what we're going to learn how to do or decide is whether we have given respect or respect is given to us. We will be talking from the areas of the community, the classroom, the family, and the school. I will give you a few scenarios and let's explore the answers. I need my glasses so that I can see what I'm reading. 3 students went to the park and picked up trash so that everybody could enjoy it more. Respect? Yes. They were given respect to the environment and to the community. By picking up the trash, they enabled everyone to be able to enjoy the park as they did. A student struck out 3 times in a row, and the other kids made fun of him. Is that giving that child or that student respect? No. We should never try to make someone feel badly because of what they are unable to do. So we did not give respect on that incident. A student is careful to say you're welcome when someone thanks her. Is it giving respect? Yes, it is. If they think enough of you to say thank you, then you respect them by saying you're welcome. A Girl Scout troop planted trees in the new park. Are they given respect? Yes. They are given respect in the community in that they are planting trees in the environment and the trees are the plants. So they are given respect in that manner. A student knocked before opening the door to her parents' room. Oh, that's a biggie. Was she given respect when she knocked on the door before entering? Yes, she did. Not only should she do that at home, but anywhere you go to a place and the door is closed and someone's on the other side, you need to knock so that they can grant you entry into that place. A student told someone who was going to cut in line, "You're not allowed to cut in line. Please go to the end of the line." Is what the student said respectful? Yes, it is. You might not like the fact that she said that, but out of respect, she explained to you why you should go to the end of the line. And that is in all instances, in the classroom, in the school, with your classmates, and in family, because she's telling you what? The rules. The rules are you go back to the end of the line. You don't cut the line. A student watered the plants in the house twice a week so that they would stay healthy. Is the student giving respect? Yes. She's giving respect to the plant. She respects it enough to give it water, to make it nourish and flourish. So that's a good thing. The student gave respect in that manner. A student made fun of another student because of the shape of his nose. Was that giving respect? No. You don't make people because they don't have the same thing that you have, or they don't have the same nose that you have or someone else may have. It's their nose, and you respect them for who they are, even with the nose that you don't like. A student got so angry that he kicked his dog. Oh my goodness. Was he respecting the animal by kicking it? No, he was not giving that animal respect. The animal gives you love and affection, and you should give that back to him in return. Some campers were careless with matches and started a forest fire. What is that involving? Then it's involving the environment. Those gases that are released when the fire starts are harmful to the human body, and for that matter, to everybody. So they weren't given respect when they were striking those matches in the forest. A friend offered to let his student cut in the lunch line, but he didn't do it because he thought it would be unfair. Unfair. People fairness. You should always try to be fair to people, and in return, they will do the same. So, in all of these episodes, you were receiving respect and giving respect. Let's see. Maybe one thing in the school. A teacher is all the students have their hands up. And the teacher calls on you because you have your hand up and it's your turn. Are you giving the teacher respect? Of course you are. If everybody was raising their hands and everybody was talking at the same time, you would be disrespecting that teacher. And there would be utter chaos. So that's a good thing. I hope that these little short scenarios have helped you not to end, but just to begin to learn how to respect others and how to receive respect from others as well. Thank you.
All
That
right.
was great. I'm trying to figure out where to get that board from. Is that a game? Can we buy that at the store?
I'm pretty sure we can find you one of those.
Okay. I got a couple people I need to play that with.
Okay. I appreciated her passion for that topic. So you could tell she was really passionate about
Definitely.
Others other students or, the community members showing respect and treating others the way they want to be treated. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think about, we've had some questions about how can people show empathy during this time of, social distancing. And a lot of times you think about empathy, you think about being close with people and maybe going to visit and things like that. And so that game just kind of brought to light some ways that you can be empathetic and show empathy and be respectful in some creative ways.
yeah. Yeah. When you mentioned that, it made me think of, I think last week they were dropping off supplies to help some of our community members that were impacted by the tornado. So
Mhm.
that was just a great way to show respect and empathy, to kind of treat someone the way we would want to be treated. So, yeah, absolutely.
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 All right. So the time for our last video. This
Yes.
show went by fast today. All right, so our last video is coming from Allie Windrow. She is a school psychologist at Hickson Elementary and I believe Middle Valley Elementary School. And she's going to talk to us a little bit about mindfulness. So just the idea of kind of getting quiet and Patricia, you kind of schooled me a little bit on this. Share a little bit about what you told me about mindfulness and why that's important.
Sure. So there are a lot of people that practice mindfulness. Of course, I'm not the expert, but I know a huge part of that is being present, meaning that you're not allowing yourself to get too anxious and you're not thinking too far ahead about, oh, tomorrow I have a test, so I'm really nervous. Or tonight, for students, for our younger kids, I may be afraid to sleep in my room. Or for our older kids,
Yeah.
you mentioned graduation, the anxiety around that. So mindfulness just teaches us how to get quiet and how to focus on our breathing. And then it also impacts our mind. So it helps the way that we think about things. So we can, keep a strong mind and, remain healthy. So there are a lot of techniques to mindfulness that, we're currently practicing in some of our schools, which has helped a lot of kids to kind of regulate their emotions and their behaviors.
Yeah, so important during this time where there's so many changes and so many shifts happening. So I'm excited to see what Allie has to say about that.
All right.
On the last video.
Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Windrow with my third mindfulness lesson. Before I get started, I just want to say that I know last week might have been a little weird. It was weird for me too. And if you ever felt a bit overwhelmed, that's okay. We're all in this together. We're all figuring this out together. And if you do need to take a little break at some point in your day, these mindfulness lessons are a great activity to try. All right, let's do it. Today we're going to learn snake. Sit up nice and tall. I'm sitting in a chair, but you can also sit on the floor, crisscross applesauce. Rest your hands gently on your knees. If you prefer to have your palms face up, that's okay too. Start by taking in a deep breath, filling up your whole body with air. Pause, and then slowly and smoothly breathe out, making a hissing sound like this. Let's try that a few times. Feel yourself becoming calmer with each breath. Okay, think we can have a contest? This time we're gonna see who can hold their hiss the longest. All right, good luck. Here we go. Did you beat me? Way to go. You just learned snake breath. Who's ready to play a game?
All right, today I have my husband helping me out. If you're a Hickson Wildcat, you may know him as Coach Brent. This is how the game works. I'm going to call out walk, crawl, or roll. When I call out the direction, you have to do it. So make sure that you spread out and have plenty of room. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Walk. Crawl. Walk. Roll. Crawl. Walk. Roll. Crawl.
Is that crawl?
Roll. Walk. Roll. Crawl. Walk. Crawl. Roll.
What?
Roll. Crawl. Crawl. Roll. Crawl. Walk. Roll. Crawl. Roll. Walk. Roll. Walk. Crawl. Crawl. Roll. Walk. Crawl. Walk. Roll. Okay, I think that's about as much as Coach Brent can take. I hope you guys had fun. For our relaxation exercises this week, I'm going to enlist the help of my best buddy, Peanut. Hey, Peanut. He knows how to relax better than any person I know. I'm pretty sure he sleeps for about 22 hours a day. Shout out to Bailey for enjoying his quick appearance in one of my videos from last week and giving me this idea. I hope everyone enjoys relaxing with Peanut. Take a moment to find a comfortable position and get settled. You can lay down on the floor or sit in a comfortable chair. Relax and close your eyes. Start to slow down your breathing. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Imagine you are walking down a beautiful path. A storm is clearing and you see a rainbow. Stand under it and let its warm, bright light fill you with happiness. You are connected to all life. You are a rainbow too. Red, you are strong and safe. Orange, you are happy. Continue to focus on your breathing and relax. Red, you are strong and safe. Orange, you are happy and playful. Yellow, you are proud and confident. Green, you are kind and caring. Blue, you are honest and truthful. Indigo, you are clever and creative. Violet, you are a good friend. Continue to breathe slowly in and out through your nose. And rest here for as long as you'd like.
All right. So I know the video was not meant to be funny, but I had so much fun watching it.
I love Coach Brent doing his hop crawl in the grass. I was like, is that a crawl? You don't know.
That was classic. And another one of my favorite parts was when Peanut, I think he was supposed to be resting, but he just kind of looked like, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah. He was like, I've had my rest.
Yes. But so that video there, it focused on an empathy trait that sometimes we don't always recognize, which of course the breathing was very and just calming your body down, regulating your behaviors. But one of the things that Coach was doing, he had to do in order to accomplish all of those commands that she was given, was listening, or he had to listen. So that's a skill that is not always the most popular skill, but that's that's a really good indicator of being able to be empathetic towards someone, is being able to listen to them and not just kind of override everything they say or do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point when you think about I was kind of researching to prepare for today's show. I had to brush up a little bit, but it talked about that. It talked about the importance of, having someone that they can talk to, and maybe they're not listening to respond, but it's just a true listening ear that's there, and just a good reminder of how.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, I think it was another great show. Fantastic.
Yeah, this was awesome. And as I said, the topic was timely. I think we're in a time where we're going to be having to just remind ourselves to remain empathetic and to put ourselves in the shoes of others, and just to remind ourselves that people handle things in so many different ways. We're not all the same. So another great show. Before we head out, I do want to remind you guys that we do have family resources at hcde.org. There'll be, I think our button is blue or green, one of those, but you'll see it. It's a family resource button. Click on it and you'll see everything that we have, from food pickup sites to educational websites, and also links to the videos that we showed today for Whole Child Wednesday. I do want to remind everybody that we have food pickup at school sites throughout the district on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. And we'll put a link to those sites in the comment section. But we do have about 4 or 5 sites per learning community. So do make sure that you access those if needed.
Very good. Well, thanks to our team. Once again, it's been a great show, and this is always great to do for our students and our families that are listening. So until next week.
Yes, until next week. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thank you.